So most of us will be spending Halloween inside this year if we listen to the CDC guidelines. CDC, what do they know, huh? Bunch of nerds. Well, since we're going to be spending this Halloween inside, we might as well be watching some cool movies. Horror movies, of course. Nobody wants to watch a rom-com over Halloween. Stop forcing your boyfriend to watch a rom-com over Halloween. It's not very nice. These movies are a little obscure. I like obscure movies. I like weird things. And I figure you got 1,000 lists telling you about the popular horror movies. I'm going to tell you about something a little strange. So here goes. Here are my top 5 obscure horror movies. These are in no particular order because it is too normal to order things. Atrocious, Out of Spain, by Fernando Barreda Luna. This was a 2010 movie, found footage horror movie. Now, found footage horror movies can be really hit and miss. You don't know if they're real. The Blair Witch Project sort of started this all off. Once we had the technology to make found footage movies, any one of us could theoretically make a found footage movie and then leave it for a person to find. What I think is the big tell as to whether or not something is real is if it's edited together. Then I can usually tell this is not just something off somebody's cell phone. Also, is there a cohesive storyline? Because in most of the cell phone videos we find online, there is no cohesive storyline. So that's how you can tell if a found footage horror movie is real or if it is fake. To date, they have all been fake, but you never know. Basically, a family goes to their summer home, and while they're there, they start to investigate a local urban legend. Ooh, I like when urban legend movies come out from all over the world because you can tell me literally any legend and I won't know any better. Like, is that really an urban legend? Did that really happen? I don't know what went on in Spain. This could have happened. Back to the found footage logic. Maybe it's real, maybe it isn't. It isn't, but it's terrifying. Atrocious is a legitimately scary movie. There is a slow build, but because you really get involved with the characters and their fate, what happens at the end really shakes you. So I would recommend this movie, but not for people who don't like scares. If you're one of those people who don't like scares, none of these movies will be good for you. This is not the video for you. This is not your holiday. I'm sorry. Atrocious. What's also nice about found footage movies out of other countries is that I've never seen any of these actors before. That's common in horror movies in general, that they use unknown actors, because we know if they're paying $20 million for Brad Pitt to be in the movie, he's going to make it to the end. So what's the point? Foreign horror movies, you don't recognize the actors at all. It could be real. We don't really know. Maybe they should adopt that for other movies too. Maybe for every movie that we see, we don't know who the actors are, so we can judge it based on the story and the quality of the acting. That would be a nice change of pace. Anyway, I digress. Next up, Jerusalem 2015 by Yav Paz and Doran Paz. I want to pronounce his name right. Yov Paz and Doran Paz. This is another found footage horror movie. Once again, found footage. Well, they're not that expensive to make. Jerusalem may have been expensive to make. If you haven't seen it, it's sort of the story of the apocalypse. This young girl puts a wish in the wishing wall and wishes for her brother to come back. And of course, that is part of the apocalypse where the dead will be raised. So she gets her wish. Her brother comes back, along with all of the other dead, as these sort of demonic things. Anyway, it's a fantastic movie. It's apocalyptic, not necessarily having to do with Halloween and more of a Judgment Day kind of horror movie. And I love a Judgment Day kind of horror movie. I love all biblical horror. I will watch any biblical horror. A lot of them are terrible. They also took a huge risk here by using the Google glasses. Do you remember those things that never caught on because we don't have a need for them? That was a lot of their found footage. And of course it makes sense that you would get the footage if you have the Google glasses on all the time. So then the footage would be archived in your Google glasses and we, the audience, can see what you see. So it's actually a wonderful choice. The only problem is we didn't really start using Google glasses Just why? Still, a wonderful movie. One that I rewatch many Halloweens. Jerusalem. Next up is Baskin by Can Evernal. This is a movie out of Turkey, and it sort of explores this Lovecraftian hell realm. These police officers go on a call, and they're sort of lured out to this mansion that doesn't exist in our world or the next. It's really what medieval people thought hell might be like, with ghouls and just disgusting, perverse things happening, and bodies misshapen, women and souls forced into degradation, and men forced to suffer in deep degradation. It's fantastic. I highly recommend this movie, especially to people who enjoy time paradoxes. If you enjoy a time paradox in your horror, making the horror fundamentally inescapable, as if fated. When you get a time paradox in a horror movie, it is fated to happen to you. You can't just not answer your phone and have it not happen, because you not answering your phone is part of the plot to begin with. I've seen this movie a number of times because I always think that I'm missing something about it. Like, I have to watch it again to see the subtext that I didn't quite get. And that could just be because it's Turkish and I'm not necessarily familiar with their culture and all of their references. Or it could be something deeper that is in there that the director wanted to hide for us, like little Easter eggs. Now, this director also did Housewives, which is another Lovecraftian horror movie, which is about cults, interdimensional beings, opening portals into other dimensions. And now these other dimensions don't necessarily have to be evil dimensions, but because we as humans can feel pain, they come across as evil to us, which is another level of horror because it's just so indifferent to our suffering. That is what Lovecraftian horror really is. So check that one out, Baskin. Do not eat anything during this movie. You may want to eat a few hours before the movie because you're not going to want to eat immediately afterwards either. You're going to need to be in that good eating window where you're not hungry, you're not snacking, and you're not about to eat anything else. This is not a first date kind of movie. This is not a second date kind of movie. This is a I've already knocked up my girlfriend kind of movie, and she's not going anywhere. So I'm just gonna share how messed up I am with her. Anybody you watch this movie with should love you unconditionally. Does that make sense? Next up is Demon, which is a Polish horror movie. It is fantastic. On the surface, it looks like a wedding movie, but as it unfolds, we see that there is something much more devious, much more sinister. I think it has a lot to do with the Holocaust and how the people of Poland sold out their Jewish population. I am not a Holocaust historian, so please do not jump on my neck for saying that. I'm sure it wasn't so cut and dry as that. Basically, there used to be Jews in Poland, and now there aren't. And this movie deals with that, and it is absolutely fantastic. The director, Marcin Rona, killed himself shortly after this movie was made. Now you know it's a good movie if it's the last movie the director has ever made. People will recommend movies to me, and I'll ask them, I'm like, how is the director doing? And they'll say, oh, he's alive and well with his wife and children. Get this shit away from me. I don't want to hear anything about that. This man should be in a psychiatric facility. You recommend a movie to me, and this man is doing well? Happy with his thoughts? Do you believe in your work or don't you? Okay, the director of Demon believed in his work. It is not just a good horror movie, but maybe one of the best movies that has been made. The fact that it didn't get the credit in his lifetime that it deserves is a tragedy. I hope this gentleman is out there listening to this because, sir, you made a masterpiece. Demon, 2015. Everybody, of course I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. Don't be in the comment section like Maya isn't sensitive. Maya is not a sensitive person. Maya's cold-hearted. Maya has bodies in her trunk. That's not what I am saying. All I am saying is that for a movie to be truly disturbing, the director got to be a little bit off. That's all I'm saying. At me in the comments. And my final addition to the list. Here Comes the Devil, a 2012 movie out of Mexico by director Adrian Garcia Bugliano. This is a very low budget movie. I wasn't expecting much when I turned it on. Basically, it's a couple and their two children. They're at a gas station and the kids go and they wander off. The kids are gone for a while and the parents are taking a nap in their car. But when they come back, they are noticeably different. And that is all I will say of the movie. This is one of those ones that kind of makes you uncomfortable. You ever eat too much sugar? You just eat way too much sugar at once and then you go, ugh, that kind of sugar shake? That sugar shake is how this movie made me feel. It's just, ugh. I took something in and now I can't get it out. I just gotta wait for it to pass through my system. That's the kind of movie Here Comes the Devil is. So these are my obscure horror movie picks. I'm gonna be doing more videos on horror movies because I watch way too many of them. If you've seen any of the movies on this list, let me know what you thought of it down below. And thank you for watching. Happy Halloween! Subscribe!